So you are increasing anti-Semitism. He is doing that. And that's the point that Hasan was making.
Important, that pawn transcript is inaccurate. It's not what he said, but the other stuff is correct. So he claims it's all fake. Yeah, what was the... So that was a hot mic moment from Jared Moss, by the way. And I don't know if he said it's okay to make America a pawn of Israel. I think he might have he might have said something different. But I'm pretty sure the rest of... MAGA erupts in fury with Hasan Derangement syndrome.
Tuesday. Hope everybody out there is having a great day. Got a lot of stuff to get to today. So in a little bit, Trump has a stage 5 meltdown at Tucker Carlson, and MAGA has completely and utterly collapsed around him. So I'll have a lot to say about that. We also have Joe Rogan taking shots at AOC and mocking her over her comment that woke one was crazy. So we'll dive into that as well. And then later on, we have a billionaire, Mark Cuban, panics and throws a tantrum against universal health care, Medicare for all, which is just beyond disgusting and grotesque, and he should be ashamed of himself doing that. So I'll have a lot to say about that as well. And you guys know the deal, man. Everybody do me a big favor and subscribe to the channel and click that bell icon. That helps out big time and costs you nothing at all. You, of course, can support the show on Patreon as well. Remember, y'all, this is real independent media. I've never talked to an advertiser. I've never done an ad read. I never will do that. I'm very proud of what we built here. You guys made that possible by giving $1 a month or $2 a month or $5 a month. So I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And then, of course, you could also sign up for Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. That link is below. And go sub to Corin's World and come hang out with us live on Monday nights as well. All right, let's go ahead and jump right in. So let me start with this. Abdul Derangement Syndrome and Hasan Derangement Syndrome has now hit crisis levels. Okay, I mean, this is like nuclear levels of bad faith attacks and smears and, disgusting, underhanded, bullshit, dirty politics nonsense. That's what we're now witnessing here. So, you had a disgusting and fraudulent attack from Mike Rogers, the Trump cuck, running against Abdul. He said the following: more calls for violence coming out of the El Sayed campaign. Here is his running mate, Hasan Piker. What? Saying that if American Jews support Israel, they will be violently targeted because of it. This is all in reaction to Michigan Democratic congressional candidate Jeremy Moss, who happens to be Jewish, saying he is unsure if he will be able to support Abdul for these very reasons. Absolutely disgusting, he puts in all caps, so you know he's serious. If Abdul El Sayed had any courage at all, he would call this out and disavow Hasan Piker once and for all. We're waiting, Abdul. Okay. So he's citing this DSA Watch account, which is another hack smear account, which looks for out-of-context clips to try to smear left-wing people. And he plays a 51-second clip here. Now, I'm going to get to Abdul's reaction in a second. But first, let's go to this. So Palkey says the following: Mike Rogers is pushing a blatantly clipped video. In the full clip, Hasan never called for violence. He was discussing Jeremy Moss's refusal to endorse Abdul El Sayed, and that the worst anti-Semitism comes from those who conflate all Jews with Israel. So now I'm going to play the entire comment that Hasan made, and you're going to determine whether or not you think he's calling for violence and whether or not you think this is anti-Semitic. Let's listen. Here we go.
I wonder what he has to do to gain the support of Oakland County's Jewish community. Yeah, he has to drop his critiques of Israel. That's what it is. Now, is Oakland County's Jewish community in unison making this demand of Abdul El Sayed? No, of course not. But if there isn't opposition from Jewish figures in this community that are loud about the divergence between this representative and their own desires, then the media narrative will set in, even if they don't realize that this media narrative presents Jews as single-minded and singularly invested in the continuation of the Israeli. I don't know how many different ways I can explain this. I don't know how people don't recognize how dangerous this predicament is, how dangerous this is for Jews. You're running around basically tying your entire identity to a country that inevitably will be seen as basically Jewish ISIS. And you're saying, as Jews, this is all we care about.
He's literally calling out Zionists for making anti-Semitism worse by insisting that all Jews are represented by the state of Israel. He's saying that makes Jews less safe. He is literally calling out Zionist anti-Semitism. That's the point. Let's continue.
Republican U.S. Senate candidate Mike Rogers is endorsing a one-year moratorium on new data centers. Look at that. Look at that. They are positioning themselves and reacting to the popularity of our policies, our positions. Look at that. Yeah, Ben Jacobs says, Ben Jacobs reports on Jeremy Moss's take. Adam Johnson says, I'll translate for those unfamiliar with these serious outreach threats. Moderate on Israel, support in the arming of genocide, albeit some mild scolding about Netanyahu, or else I will withhold my support and help Rogers. This is a variation on Hakeem Jeffries' further conversations threat. There are pro-genocide, uncommitted movements everywhere for those with eyes to see. That's precisely what is going on here. These guys are shamelessly ignoring the doctor's advice. Fuck, I had more water than I ever have today. Okay, hold on. I got more water. I will drink more water. Saying that they are uncommitted. They're uncommitted to Abdul el-Sayed because Abdul has an anti-genocide position that is broadly popular, and these guys can't contend with that reality. They want Abdul to take a less popular and immoral position, a position that he does not hold. It's totally ridiculous, and we should not let these people forget. We should not let others forget what shameless positions that they are holding on to in this pivotal moment where the Senate majority hinges on this seat, and they are casting that aside. Because while not all Jews in Michigan are single-handedly or single-mindedly in unison holding up the continuation of Israel as a major reason as to why they will withhold their support, there are those who are doing that, and we must not let people forget that reality.
What part of that was anti-Semitic? What part of that was a call for violence? The Mike Rogers campaign, the MAGA Republican Mike Rogers, is simply flat out lying, and aggressively so. That's what's happening here, and everybody who's being honest knows it. So, naturally, the Diet MAGA in on the fun, okay? The Diet MAGA Democrats, one of them named Hillary Scholten, who said during the primary that if Abdul wins, I don't know if I could support him. I'm probably not going to support him. Now she's out here pissing in the punch bowl and trying to take down Abdul, doing MAGA's dirty work for them. So she comes out and says, today, Congresswoman Hillary Scholten issued the following statement after Twitch streamer Hasan Piker said that American Jews who support Israel are inviting violence. In his stream, Piker directly discussed and targeted Michigan State Senator Jeremy Moss. More on that guy in a second, by the way. Showing his picture while stating that eventually someone will come around and take action, not against Israel, but against American Jews. Today, Congresswoman Hillary Scholten issued the following statement after Twitch streamer Hasan Piker, blah, 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 blah. Hasan Piker calls for violence against American Jews. Excuse you? That's just fucking defamation. You're just fucking lying. And directly naming a Michigan elected official and future congressional colleague, Jeremy Moss, are unacceptable. Full stop. Piker is a hack who thrives on hate, shock, and awe because he lacks substance. Oh my God, that's so ironic because all he was doing was talking substance there. It's dangerous for everyone. We should all be calling out this disgusting rhetoric so it loses its grip on our politics once and for all. It has no place in Michigan and no place in our country. So Hasan literally calling out anti-Semitism is anti-Semitism according to these people and is a call for violence according to these people. You literally cannot make this up if you try. So Justin Canoe says the following. He didn't call for violence. He rightly pointed out anti-Semitism is rising because of Israel's actions. And the more American Jews defend them and do the work of anti-Semites by tying Jews to Israel, the worse it will get. And here you are doing exactly that. It is amazing. I've never seen such a faker outrage cycle in my entire fucking life, bro. I've never seen one this bad. By the way, just for those of you who are unaware, and just so you know how utterly obnoxious and fake this outrage is, here's a video that was posted by HasanAbi Productions. It's a 30-minute compilation of Hasan calling out anti-Semitism and how criticism of Israel shouldn't be conflated with criticism of Jews, okay? So next time somebody accuses him of being an anti-Semitic based on a 20-second out-of-context clip, show them this. And you don't even have to say anything. Just show them this. I'm obviously not going to play the whole thing here, but listen to the sort of stuff that Hasan says all the time.
Anti-Semitism is a canary in the coal mine of fascism. It's one of the oldest bigotries that has caused those of the Jewish faith a tremendous amount of pain. From pogroms to the Holocaust, Jews have always been singled out by those in power as a scapegoat for instability and economic volatility people in power caused. A resilient, nascent anti-Semitism is a constant threat, especially as economic instability makes those in power seek out old targets. They're not very creative, usually. They just always rehash the same propaganda over and over again. This is precisely the reason why I am terrified of the conflation of anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism.
I mean, he could not be more clear. It's literally 30 minutes of him making the point that the enemy is Zionism, the enemy is not Jews. Jews are our brothers and sisters. How many times and how many ways can he make that same point? So, to my surprise, Abdul drops a statement. My statement on Hasan Piker's comments regarding Jeremy Moss. Abdul says, quote, I believe all Americans deserve the right to advocate for what they believe without fear of violence. This is particularly true for communities that have been intimidated for their beliefs in the past. My commitment to Jewish safety is the same as my commitment to the safety of my own daughters. Anti-Semitism is a scourge, and we need to address it in all its forms.
Yeah, his big mistake was saying my statement on Hasan Piker's comments regarding Jeremy Moss, or his comms team putting that out there. Because if he just released this statement in and of itself, then it's fine. It's the same thing he's been saying over and over again, right? But then the media immediately took that as oh, he's distancing, he's disavowing, we finally got him. And it really sucks because, it doesn't even suck for me. I don't care. You know what I mean? Abdullah Sayed could come out tomorrow and be like, I fucking hate this guy, right? Who gives a shit? I care far more about what he stands for, what he's advocating for, what he's fighting for. And obviously, I would care as much as, how this signals that he might be invested in capitulating, right? Invested in capitulating to power centers in the party. But he's not doing that. I don't believe he's doing that. The reason why I feel so discouraged about this is because this allows a new opening, a new line of attack to say, oh, well, now that you've admitted that this guy is toxic, now that you're distancing yourself from him, are you ready to apologize every day for the rest of this election cycle for ever entertaining Hasan? And it's also based off of a falsehood. Because if he were to say, yeah, what Hasan is doing is dangerous, it's toxic, how dare he claim that Zionists make Jews less safe by consistently conflating Zionism with Judaism, then they can turn around and attack him for his own words because he's also said that. Because it's the truth. They'd be like, oh, really? So why did you say that last week? Why did you say that the week prior? This is the Zoran problem as well.
And I stand against any rhetoric that puts the community at risk. But I want to be crystal clear. Nobody speaks for this campaign besides me and my campaign spokespeople. And while politicians and pundits try to make this race about a Twitch streamer, we're going to be talking about gas, groceries, good schools, and healthcare. Because that's what Michiganders keep asking about. It's why I'm fighting to get money out of politics, money in your pocket, and Medicare for all. So he doesn't fully throw Hasan under the bus. He doesn't do that. But he also doesn't really say, they're lying and this is fake outrage, right? And so, naturally, some people are criticizing Abdul here and going, really? Really? Because it almost feeds in to this mind virus of faux outrage that, Hasan was being anti-Semitic and calling for violence against Jews, which is a flat-out lie. A flat-out lie. So, I don't know why you would drop this statement in particular, okay? I don't know why. I'm sure in Abdul's mind, he thinks well, I didn't throw Hasan under the bus, so that should count for something. But I don't know, it seems to me to just be feeding the fake outrage cycle. Because what they're going to do now is they're going to go, we got him. And you gave them an inch, now they're going to try to take a mile. That's how it works. You can't give these motherfuckers a centimeter or a fucking millimeter. Okay? This was fake outrage. They were lying from the beginning, and that's what needs to be said. That's what needs to be pointed out. It should be pointed out that Hasan was calling out anti-Semitism in the clip where they say he's being anti-Semitic. So now, by the way, this guy who the Diet MAGA Democrats are rushing to the defense of, Hillary Scholten is rushing to the defense of, and Mike Rogers is rushing to the defense of. Listen to what Michigan State Senator Jeremy Moss, a Democrat running for the U.S. Congress this November, was caught on tape saying. And what he said on tape is, quote, I don't think it's wrong for Israel to use America as a pawn. America is not our homeland. That is literally the definition of being Israel first. That is a comment, ladies and gentlemen, that should be criticized by everybody. To not criticize that is fucking insane. It is insane to not call that out directly. And yes, people like this increase anti-Semitism because they come out and they say, Israel is representing all Jews. If you're Jewish, Israel is representing you. So when they shoot babies in the face, when they bomb innocent people, when they bomb UN workers, when they bomb World Central Kitchen workers, Israel is representing the Jews when they do that. That's what they're doing. And when you say that over and over and over and over and over, that will lead to an increase in anti-Semitism because you're trying to connect all Jews to genocide. And that's bullshit. So you are increasing anti-Semitism. He is doing that. And that's the point that Hasan was making.
Important, that pawn transcript is inaccurate. It's not what he said, but the other stuff is correct. So he claims it's all fake. Yeah, what was the... So that was a hot mic moment from Jared Moss, by the way. And I don't know if he said it's okay to make America a pawn of Israel. I think he might have he might have said something different. But I'm pretty sure the rest of... He literally said, like, Jews are not native to America. It's not our homeland, etc. Yeah, he said some unhinged shit. Here's the audio clip. You can listen to it on your own. But I think that the transcript fucked up some of the things that he had said. And that's why he's claiming that he didn't say any of these at all, or that the recording was doctored at all.
And so honestly, I would say that the entire purpose of my campaign is to make sure America continues to support Israel. You know, I don't think it's wrong for Jews in America to want to put Israel first. America is not our homeland. We have.
Yeah, this part gets mumbled, but the other aspects of the speech are just like very clear, right? Like where he says, you know, I think he's saying I don't think it's wrong for Jews to care about Israel instead. I think that's what he's saying. But then he like straight up says unhinged ass nonsense. That isn't true. That's the problem. This is not true. Okay? This is objectively untrue. Of course, for American Jews, America is their homeland. Okay? This is what I mean when I say like this is not representative of the broader Jewish mentality. This is not representative at all of how many American Jews feel. Even those who actually feel a sense of sympathy or a sense of loyalty to Israel don't fucking feel this way, okay? That's why I always say there is this weird handshake between some of the most rabid anti-Semites and some of the most rabid Israel defenders. It's the Jonathan Pollard equation, you know? Where Jonathan Pollard will go on Israeli news and say, like, of course we have dual loyalty. Now, of course, he's in Israel now, so obviously he can say whatever the fuck he wants in Israel. But, like, that is objectively increasing anti-Semitic sentiment in the country. When people hear that stuff, especially because they're far removed from Jewish people in general, they don't live in neighborhoods where Jewish people live in, they've never met Jewish people, you know, and they hear stuff like that and they suspect Jews of having dual loyalty, and they go, oh, see, here it is, an admission that feeds into anti-Semitism. Yeah, Matthew Petty responds, the head in the office, saying, here's Ezra Klein saying almost the exact same thing Hasan Piker is being denounced for, by the way. Anti-Zionism is rising as a response to what Israel is doing. It will simply not be possible to treat it as a marginal viewpoint that can be shamed or shunned into invisibility. Yes, anti-Semitism often cloaks itself in anti-Zionism, so don't do the anti-Semites work for them. If you keep telling people if they oppose the Jewish state, then they must hate Jewish people, eventually they will believe you. That's what I mean when I say you're teaching people the wrong lesson, right? Matt Petty says, in-group versus out-group. To which Bolsa de Miedo responds with, it's literally too late. Dual loyalty is now mainstream. Debate is now between those who say that Jews are directly activated by the Israeli government, Pollard style, or it's just general political affinity. Now, that's a more cynical approach than the one that I take. Okay? Like, this is, I think Bolsa de Miedo might even be in Israel, if I'm not mistaken. He might be one of the anti-Zionist Jews in Israel, which, of course, is it kind of breaks your brain a little bit when you're at the center of it all. But it definitely breeds a lot more resentment, a lot more hostility. They're like BM, the other guy who's always in my replies being like, dude, shut the fuck up. It is Judaism. And it's like, dude, please stop. I understand that, like, you lived through this process in Israel as a anti-Zionist Jew. So your opinion on it is, I really hate you. Yeah, BM, I really hate you on Twitter. But ultimately, What's the difference between being an anti-imperialist American and an anti-Zionist in Israel? Exactly. It's not dissimilar. Yeah, it breaks your brain. Everybody positions you as an op. Did you see this? When the head of a major left-leaning DC think tank regularly gets in fights with a Dem base and progressive influencers on social media almost in an irrational and uncontrollable way, does that ultimately hurt the think tank? Left-wing rep Mark Pecan from Wisconsin said, an apparent reference to the Center for American Progress CEO Neera Tanden, a vocal critic of Piker on social media. Yeah, I'm glad that there are some people who are starting to pick fights with Neera over her ridiculous attitude. Anyway, the point that I'm making is this: if anti-Israel sentiment is already is no longer a matter of discussion, right? If both sides are increasingly becoming more and more anti-Israel, the question remains: do people become anti-Israel from an anti-Semitic perspective, or do people become anti-Israel from an anti-Zionist perspective? And I don't want to know the answer to that question. But what I can tell you is this: a lot of the pro-Israel institutions that actively attack me are playing a very dangerous game. Because you take me out, next guy, well, there are already plenty of people that are prominent in this field, in this space. Many of them are not so careful about making this distinction, okay? But you take me out, and what remains after I go away is not going to be so careful, is not going to be actively defending the safety and security of Jewish people, because it's much easier it's much easier to convince Americans that Jews are this monolithic force. Just like it's much easier to convince Americans on other odious ideologies like white supremacy, white identitarianism. Americans are predisposed to tribalistic arguments. They like it. It's much easier for them to be anti-Israel from an anti-Semitic perspective, an anti-Semitic framework, than it is from a framework that not only opposes Israel's inception as a settler colonialist state, but also opposes America as well under similar grounds. And it's very frustrating when I see people who do care about anti-Semitism fall for this as well. People who are also critical of Israel, maybe not to the same as we are. And yes, Hillary Skolton is still talking about how she refuses to endorse Abdullah Said. Jamie Raskin, you're standing next to this person. Please speak something reasonable here. Please, Jamie Raskin, what the fuck? Like, yeah, we don't see fucking eye to eye on you know, a lot of issues, and probably on Israel as well, but it doesn't matter. You're a little bit more, you're center left.
Anything else to add then? Are you wheeling it over? And if it is, you know, this big tent, then why not endorse it?
Yeah, so Abdul has not reached out to me yet. If he would, I would have some questions. I have not endorsed him yet. And I think, as I made pretty clear, a lot of it has to do with past associations with Hasan Piker, current statements. And I have received a lot of feedback, both positive and negative from voters in my district. And one of the things that I know is I am deeply engaged on this issue, talking with folks about how they feel, but getting a lot of support from people who are saying, thanks for helping us to think really critically about this issue and to question whether this is the right direction for our party. But make no mistake, I'm not here speaking for Jamie or Sean on this issue, but I think I have been pretty clear on that. And one thing I know that voters in West Michigan have come to rely on is a representative who will speak her mind, speak with authenticity, and show up to answer even sometimes tough questions when they're posed. And that's not something I'm afraid to do.
Are you comfortable with the possibility that helps Mike Rogers win in November and possibly swings the Senate to Republicans?
I think that it's up to the top of the ticket to unify the top of the ticket. I think that's a lot of power to give a single congresswoman that I could potentially sway the outcome of.
Many speaking out against Abdullah.
I wouldn't go so far as to say I'm speaking out against him. I have spoken out against Hasan Piker pretty clearly, and
Abdul crushed in this district, by the way. I guess her district didn't care about the Hasan Piker affiliation or endorsement. Did you see this Raskin statement from a couple weeks ago on Israel? Young people interested in democratic socialism, not the psychotic Stalinism of Trump's friends Kim Jong-un, President Xi, and Vladimir Putin, are more welcome in the Democratic Party. I believe in you. Young Americans are not talking about the dictatorship of the proletariat or seizing the means of production. He's wrong. They are, but it's fine. Whatever. They just want healthcare for everyone in the richest country in the world, a dramatically increased minimum wage. Yeah, he's he's that kind of Democrat. He's like much more, he is, much more positionally open-minded towards like, Medicare for all shit like that. But having said that, that is the reason why I'm like kind of confused as to why he's not, he's not pulling her aside and just being like, Hillary, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean? He's like a Chris Van Hollen. Exactly. He's like a Chris Van Hollen type Democrat. Jamie Raskin is. So I'm a little bit confused. Jamie Raskin is the type of Democrat, by my estimation, maybe I'm wrong and maybe he'll prove me wrong, but he's the type of Democrat that probably sees the attacks and goes, yeah, I don't think this guy is actually anti-Semitic. I'm not going to say anything about it. Perhaps I'm wrong. There are Democrats like that out there whose silence is being noticed. Some of them are doing it because they understand that there is a 2028 ambition. There is a 2028 ambition out there for them, ambitions for higher office, and they recognize that the path towards primary will abso-fucking-lutely revolve around not presenting themselves as pro-Israel stooges, right? And then there are, I suspect, others who see what's going on and they're just like, yeah, this is not correct.
Well, I supported Haley Stevens, and I think I made the reasons clear why I did. But I think that the larger issue is that I'm out here supporting Democrats. I've been all over the.
How much motion? Oh, it's not her. Okay, so here's the thing. Her endorsement, and I would say Moss's endorsement, by my calculations, and I might be totally off base here. Maybe Abdul's team has a different estimate or a different weight that they're placing on it. But their endorsement isn't powerful on its own. It's more so their refusal to endorse that's driving the discourse, right? What is this? Hasan say psych right now. The title is a lie. Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, she did. Dolly Parton passed away at the age of 80. So it's not that Abdul is desperate for their endorsement. It's that any kind of refusal to endorse feeds into the media narrative that recycles the same propaganda that like the Dems are in a state of disarray, right? And that's precisely the reason why the NRCC is pushing this line. Democrat Hillary Scholten posted on social media, like they know, Hillary Scholten knows the role that she's playing. The role that she's playing is the role of a spoiler. She understands that her endorsement doesn't carry a lot of weight for Abdul in her district. Her refusal to endorse Abdul al-Sayed is actually feeding into Republican attacks, claiming that the Dem base is not united around Abdul because there's something there. Where there's smoke, there's fire. It's to get like independents and moderates and people on the edges like a little bit confused and a little bit suspicious about Abdul al-Sayed. Oh, like prominent Democrats are not endorsing him. I wonder if there's something going on. And then they see the attack ads and they're like, oh, maybe it's because he's a Islamic jihadist. It's a lie. Why are you confused by this? I understand you being mad, but it was obvious they would do this. No, after the rat fucking Bernie in 2020, where the winner of Iowa conceded to Biden. Why is this surprising? As a poli-sci major, why are you appealing to their reason and consciousness when their pursuit of power is everything to these people? Twofold. One, because I'm not going to succumb to nihilism, especially at a time when we've actually generated tremendous victories. And I'm just not going to push that aside. This is an opportunity for me to present myself as an impartial analyst, even though I'm in the fucking middle of this story myself, to others who are paying close attention to this race. So while I suspect the Democrats of playing the role of a spoiler, I still have to, present the story to newcomers as something that I'm shocked by. And also, there was an instance where I was shocked by it. There was an instance where I was actually confused because there was a unification that took place immediately after the electoral victory. When the primary was over, there was a hugging of Abdul al-Sayed. Hasan Piker's dangerous and hateful language targeting Jewish Americans has no place in our civic discourse. Suggesting that Jewish Americans bear responsibility for hatred or violence directed against them is wrong, dangerous, anti-Semitic. We can and should argue fiercely over policy. No American should be told that their political beliefs make them responsible for hatred or violence directed against them. There is a bright line between vigorous debate and rhetoric that stokes hatred towards our neighbors. Mr. Piker has crossed that line repeatedly and unmistakably. Again, same message. Boss call. Same message every time. These guys don't have an independent thought of their own. It's you know, I think why they won't have you on. Yeah, this is exactly why they won't have me on. Here is Waters after last night's Abdul Al-Sayed conversation saying he actually kind of likes the guy.
In this case, I thought the interview was fine. Thought it was compelling. He's a confident guy, kind of a guy's guy, but I don't trust him. You know, I like him. I don't want to like him. I like him for some stupid reason, but he's not right for Michigan.
No, but this is also part of the reason, because our positions are not fucking insane. Our positions are unbelievably sane. And if we have at least like a level of confidence and a level of charisma to defend these positions, even the most hostile and most contentious interviews will turn into ones that are where, you know, the audience reception will be different. We're going to be covering the Abdul Al-Sayed. We're going to be covering the Abdul Al-Sayed Jesse Waters interview in a second, because it was very good. He did a lot of great things in that interview.
Bro, I'm gonna fucking lose it. Now, by the way, the little cherry on top of this conversation, and this is what Abdul should have said. The official Mike Rogers campaign outrage team is full of neo-Nazis who participate in group chats that praise Hitler and call for Jews to be sent to North Korea. You won't hear about this because Mike Rogers supports Israel about Hasan instead. This is literal, guys. This is literal. New, Mike Rogers announces members of outreach team who defended Hitler group chat and spread misogynistic comments. Quote, chat filled with praise for Hitler, gas chamber jokes, racial slurs, and rape comments. Jesus Christ. Quote, I love Hitler. He referred to black people as monkeys, and the watermelon people, and mused about putting opponents in gas chambers, and called rape, quote, epic. These are the people working on fucking Mike Rogers' campaign. And we're having a conversation about Hasan Piker, who was calling out anti-Semitism? Oh, no, bro. So, guys, I gotta say, I feel fucking horrible for Hasan, man. They lie about him so shamelessly, so brazenly, so aggressively. They, like, bully the media into just accepting their description of events. Now even Abdul released a statement that doesn't really throw Hasan under the bus, but also doesn't defend his name. Like, see, now I'm sort of fed up. I'm sort of fed up of even the defense of, like, well, I believe in free speech and I'm against cancel culture, so stop canceling Hasan. No, somebody needs to go out there and stand 10 toes down and puff their chest out and say, he believes in universal rights. He believes in protecting every minority community. He believes in raising taxes on the wealthy and redistributing and giving people healthcare and giving people education and ending the wars and not arming a genocide. He's right. He's right about all that. Enough with the fake outrage smear bullshit. And that's what it is. It's just smearing. So, look, what we're looking at here is Hasan Derangement syndrome. And never give in to fake outrage. Ever, 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 ever. Okay? And then also what I'll show you is we got Hasan Derangement syndrome, and that's being used in service of Abdul Derangement syndrome. So here's a great example. Now remember, they went after Hasan here for calling for violence. He didn't call for violence. And for being anti-Semitic, he was literally calling out anti-Semitism. They were dead wrong on all counts, right? Here's the sort of stuff that Mike Rogers surrogates, when they're not goose-stepping and zig-heiling and praising Hitler in the group chat, here's what Mike Rogers surrogates are saying. Listen to this.
Talk about another state that you raised, another big state, Michigan, the face-off between Democrat Abdul Al-Sayed and former Congressman Mike Rogers. The NRSC continues to put out social media posts claiming that Abdul Al-Sayed has quote-unquote terrorist ties, and yet there is no evidence that he has terrorist ties. Senator, should the NRSC stop running those ads?
Well, we know without question that he had family members who helped resource Osama bin Laden.
Oh, my God. Oh, my days. You have U.S. senators going, well, sure, but, you know, he's basically in Al-Qaeda. He's basically ISIS. You know, he personally helped Osama bin Laden. So, like, yeah, bro, I think that's fucked up. The shit that Republicans get away with. Bro, we live in a country where Rush Limbaugh, one of the most hateful motherfuckers of all time, got the Congressional Medal of Freedom from our pedophile terrorist president. And I'm supposed to be mad at Hasan Piker for being correct? For saying true things? for supporting universal human rights? That's the scandal? That they tarnished something and twisted it and lied about it and pretended like he was being anti-Semitic when he was calling out anti-Semitism? Pretending like he called for violence when he fucking didn't? He was literally warning about an increase in violence because of Zionist anti-Semitism. That's the whole point. Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, Abdul's basically an ISIS. Can we talk about this? Can we talk about this? Hey, Hillary Scholten with her fucking smear attack against Hasan. And what I said to her is, do you have any thoughts on our pedophile terrorist president bombing innocent fishermen and murdering them literally today? You've said nothing about the pedophile terrorist president murdering innocent fishermen with no due process whatsoever. You've said nothing about that today, but you called out Hasan Piker, a fucking Twitch streamer. Are you kidding me? I mean, these people are sick. These people.
It just makes the entirety of the Democratic Party look deeply unserious. It makes the entire anti-Trump movement look fucking stupid. And worse than all of that, it makes the entire anti-Trump movement look like they are super, super pro-Israel because, unfortunately, some of the most prominent Democrats in the country are super pro-Israel. They are Israel first. That's the issue. It's fucking sad, man.
Are sick. If you are punching left in this moment, you are the scum of the earth. If you are punching left, you are Diet MAGA. You are helping the fascists. You are helping the fascists, period. End of discussion. If you are punching left in this moment. I have zero tolerance these days for left punching. Fucking zero. Go after MAGA and go after Diet MAGA, the people who are co-conspirators and facilitating MAGA and their fucking destruction of everything, like Hakeem Jeffries, who just met with Jared Kushner to see what they could work together on. Calling out Hasan Piker? Are you fucking kidding me?
We know without question that he campaigns with Piker, who said at one point that America deserved 9/11.
Let's stay focused on al-Sayed, though. Let's stay focused on al-Sayed and what he has said and believes in. There's
Birds
no
of a feather
evidence.
flock together.
See, I can't. See, the fact that nobody has made a full-throated defense of Hasan now leads to shit like this, right? The fact that nobody came out and said, he was talking about the concept of blowback, which is something that the libertarian Ron Paul, who ran for president as a Republican in 2008, if he could acknowledge that publicly, we can all be fucking adults here, and we can acknowledge he was talking about blowback. But no, I mean, we live in hell. And the entire race now is going to be smear after smear after smear of the left, painting the left as extremists, as at the same time, we have Donald Trump murdering fishermen, Donald Trump bombing little girl schools, Donald Trump threatening to steal Greenland, Donald Trump threatening to steal Cuba, kicking 18 million people off their Medicaid, closing 742 rural hospitals, kicking 4 million people off the SNAP program, shoving innocent immigrants into ICE concentration camps and torturing them and raping them. But we're supposed to clutch our pearls and faint on our fainting couch because Hasan Piker said something factually true.
Birds of a feather flock together. The company you keep does matter. We all know that. That's something we learn in.
You keep company with Donald fucking Trump, who raped a 13-year-old, Katie Johnson, who has a fucking nipple torture fetish. You're fucking buddy with the guy who said, we're going to annihilate an entire civilization. An entire civilization will die tonight. Yeah, you're right. Birds of a feather flock together. And that's why you motherfuckers should be nowhere near power. You should be gonzo. It should be over for you. You guys should be in a fucking insane asylum, all of you together.
Elementary school. Well, let's go to where he stands on the issues, though. There's a reason why even former Biden administration folks are joining with Republicans.
See, from the jump, this was always the strategy. The strategy is to get like a couple quote unquote Democrats, fake Democrats, phony Democrats to come out and express their discontent. It's the divide and conquer.
Republicans and hosting fundraisers.
And Democrats are leaning into it hook, line, and sinker. They can't openly. There are a lot of Israel first Democrats who at least experience a level of shame to not directly attack Abdul al-Sayed. Like Hillary Scholten is obviously shameless, right? She's doing that directly. But these other Democrats are playing that exact same role. They are Israel loyalists. They're in the pocket of big pharma. They're in the pocket of healthcare profiteers. And they can't come out and actively be like, Abdul al-Sayed, we hope you lose. We hope you lose we hope we lose the Democrat Senate majority. So they're just doing this sneak attack to be like, oh, well, Abdul is weak. He's a weak guy for being in line with this disgusting, vile, repulsive Twitch streamer who has said horrible things that everyone that has voted for us at this point now also agrees with. So they can't say the truth. The truth is, they don't like that Abdul is critical of Israel, and they want to maintain a pro-Israel position in the party for one reason or another, right? They can't just come out and be like, we don't really fuck with Abdul. We don't really even want to win the Senate majority if we win it with Abdul, who is critical of Israel, who happens to have the popular support and the popular position on this issue because we oppose democracy. They can't say that out loud. So they just try to find anything else they can. But yes, their goal is to create an established narrative, a line of attack that leans into what the Republicans are saying. They're just channeling the Republican communiques. But they're actually just mad at you. They're mad at you for participating. They're mad at you for having your voices be heard. They're mad at you for going out and phone banking, door knocking, getting involved in the electoral process, and actually defeating incumbent Democrats. We took out a lot of incumbent Democrats, folks, a lot more than the Tea Party movement did. And the Tea Party movement was orchestrated and backed by Republican mega donors, billionaire Republican mega donors. It was entirely AstroTurf. We took out major incumbents. What, you think that was going to, you think that they were going to leave that unpunished? Of course they're going to punish us. That's it.
Throughout Michigan to support Mike Rogers. Here's one of the reasons why. We've got a candidate.
Yeah, because they're all bought by the fucking Israel lobby and they're diet MAGA, and they know that Abdul's actually going to cut off the weapons to Israel, and they would do anything to continue to fund the genocide, and so they're Republicans now.
And Abdul El Said, who wants to abolish ICE.
Everybody should want to abolish ICE. It's a criminal gang. It's not a fucking government agency. They're not upholding the law. They're destroying the law.
And the police. Here's a candidate so radical that even Democrats in Michigan are joining forces for the
You got like literally two of them on somebody's front lawn, and they're all funded by Israel.
first time with Republicans to elect Mike Rogers.
It's just fucking disgusting.
To be very clear, there is no evidence that al-Sayed supports any terrorist organization.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that. Just to be clear, he's not literally ISIS. He's not best friends with Osama bin Laden. Just to be clear, he's not actually in Al-Qaeda, even though your pedophile terrorist president decided to put a former Al-Qaeda leader as the head of the country of Syria. I mean, what a sick joke. What a sick joke. Here's one more for you. Mike Rogers, this is the sort of shit he's talking about. Listen to what he says here.
And when I get there, we're going to fix this. We're going to fight to bring down
Nice microphone you got there, bro.
costs.
Oh,
we're
here
going
you
to
are.
pass the SAVE Act. We're going to get... Yeah.
We're going to pass this. In other words, we're going to rig elections from now till the end of time.
You bet. We're going to take transgender flags out of our schools and put the American school back in there.
So Abdul is talking about putting money in your pocket and Medicare for all, and this guy's talking about removing trans flags from school and passing the election rigging SAVE Act to make Trump a dictator. But be really mad because Hasan said something accurate. Be really mad because Hasan said something objectively correct. Be really mad because a bunch of people are smearing and lying about Hasan and saying he said something anti-Semitic, even though he was literally calling out anti-Semitism. Oh my God. Oh my God. I am so fucking sick of MAGA. I am so sick of these lying smear merchants. And I'm so sick of diet MAGA helping to further the most obnoxious and incorrect smear attacks I've ever seen in my entire life.
Hey, y'all, do me a favor.
Oh, this was the other thing that I wanted to briefly bring up too, as far as the as far as the like in talks to endorse Abdul El Sayed. Like what is the possible holdup with an Abdul El Sayed endorsement if you're a Michigan Democrat, right? Like they're basically letting it be known that their holdup is around the issue of Israel. But of course they can't say that. So they have to make it seem like the holdup is actually like a sincere disagreement that somehow Abdul is trafficking in anti-Semitic conspiracies and his allegiance to a Twitch streamer is causing people to believe that. It's fucking bullshit, right?